What happens when technology explodes? Leaves a lot of data trails everywhere. It's also loss of context. Navara is an anti-chaos where we want to use AI to remove that chaos.
Is Maruthy someone who's made some pretty bold decisions that most people wouldn't even think about. He's built Almabase into the #1 alumni management software in the US with 7-figure revenue. Have you ever had a day where you just wanted to quit and go home?
The moment I landed in Heathrow is a massive airport. I've never seen such a huge airport ever in my life. And I sat down there and I'm like, holy, and it just felt like a completely an alien world. And at that time, I felt like maybe I should just take the flight back home.
What principle from your upbringing is a non-negotiable for you as a founder and as a team leader?
Hard work and discipline, these are two things. India education system is hyper competitive. There are probably like 1.2 million people writing an exam for probably like 3,000 to 6,000 slots. You can't rely on your intelligence. You need to do hard work to be able to stand out.
You said that most AI tools look like they were built in a basement and shipped without taste. You name dropped Apple, Nike, and Tesla, companies where design is the product. So how's this working out at Navara?
Oh man,
What happens when you leave home at 15, become the first in your family to graduate college, drop out of a physics PhD in the UK, and then reinvent yourself at one of the world's top business schools? Hey everyone, and welcome back to the AI Parenting Institute. I'm your host, Rayan Ali, and today's guest is Maruthy, someone who's made some pretty bold decisions that most people wouldn't even think about. He left home as a teenager, earned a physics degree, and then realized halfway through a PhD that it wasn't his path, so he dropped out, moved to the US, got into Booth, and reinvented himself at one of the world's top business schools. Since then, he's built Almabase into the #1 alumni management software in the US with 7-figure revenue. He helps scale companies like Rippling and Remote from $4 million to over $100 million. And now he's the CEO and co-founder of Navara, an AI company that's specifically built for salespeople who are tired of doing the admin work and just want to start selling products. For every parent wondering how to support a kid who wants to take these kinds of risks, and to every teen thinking about doing something different, this conversation is for you. Maruthy, thanks so much for being here and welcome to the podcast.
thanks, Ryan. Thanks for that generous introduction and elaborate one. Grateful to be here.
Thank you, Maruthy. Looking back to when you left home at 15, what hidden strengths or challenges did you discover in yourself along the way?
Right. Oh boy, that's a long time ago. It feels like it. I think the biggest strength that I have discovered, and I used to play a lot of sport. And one thing is, I could just go into any environment, like a team environment, and be a part of the team and work with the team and help the team move forward. And that's a critical part of a sport, right? So that's what I learned. And when I went home, even if it's a new environment to a different city, which I've never been to in my whole life, and living alone for the first time without any family, I just leaned into that strength because of what I learned from sport.
You've made some bold decisions like moving across countries and changing careers. So tell me, have you ever had a day where you just wanted to quit and go home?
Oh, so when I went to the UK for the first time, that's my first ever, a foreign trip or like a across the world trip. I was very excited when I got the physics gig there in University of Southampton. Sir Tim Berners-Lee, who was one of the co-creator of the internet, was from the same university. So I was very, very excited to go there. And this was my first ever trip. So I went there. The moment I landed in Heathrow is a massive airport. I've never seen such a huge airport ever in my life. And I sat down there and I'm like, holy, I can't see anyone who's similar to me. And it just felt like a completely an alien world where I couldn't like relate myself to it because London looked very different from where I'm from, a tier two city in India, and it just looked very different. And then I went to Southampton. I took a bus and I went to Southampton. And while London is extremely busy, Southampton was very quiet. There's no human being there. So I did not know when I got down from the train, like where do I need to go? How do I go? There were no credit card system, and I was all alone with a massive suitcase. And at that time, I felt like maybe I should just take the flight back home. Yeah, until someone showed up from the university housing, and then they said, hey, are you Maruthi? Yeah, I'm here to pick you up. So I waited for 45 minutes because I was just gathering thoughts there, what to do.
You had the academic pedigree at the IIT Bombay and the University of Southampton, but You chose entrepreneurship over completing your academic journey. Looking back, was there a specific moment that made you think, I need to start building companies, not research papers?
Yeah, so like academics was very critical growing up, in the sense that my parents did not get educated. My mom got married, I think 16 something, and then she completed her
Mhm,
schooling after I and my sister was born. And for her, her only life goal in some way is that we both get educated very well. So academics were always given the highest priority, and that's what pushed me first to NIT, and then got an admission in IIT Bombay, but did not take it. And then I went to the UK. But what I realized is the thing that's very exciting for me is to work in teams and work on hard problems. While I enjoyed physics a lot, working in a physics lab is almost like a solo endeavor, where it's very less of a teamwork, and where it's less of what I enjoyed doing as much as I
mhm,
enjoyed studying physics. So then I took a decision that maybe this is not for me, even though I enjoyed. And then thesis that I was working on is how do you convert solar energy to electrical energy using organic photovoltaic cells, where I was
mhm.
playing with silicon germanium cells, and then you need to test different materials on where you can increase the efficiency of the conversion. But that's when it hit me that okay, probably this is not what I want. And then I've applied to U Chicago, got into a program there, and then went to the US.
Thank you, Maruthy. What principle from your upbringing is a non negotiable for you as a founder and as a team leader?
Hard work and discipline, these are two things. At least like my both my parents told us that there's only one way that we can like India education system is hyper competitive, by the way.
Mhm,
Right, so there were like when I was writing my entrance exam, which is an equivalent to SAT. uh, there were probably like 1.2 million people writing that exam
wow.
for probably like 3,000 to 6,000 slots for your engineering exam in the best of the universities, right? Like
Mhm,
think of the
mhm,
Stanfords and the Harvards of India. Uh, so, so the only way is like you can't rely on your intelligence. You can't just rely on your smart work, because there are like so many people in that 1.2 million who are
mhm.
equally smart as you. And the only way is like you need to do hard work.
You need to be able to stand out.
Yeah, you need to be able to stand out, and you need to put in like a lot more repetitions. It's almost like, because this exam is like 3 hours exam, and within the 3 hours you need to be super efficient, fast, and almost thinking on your feet. So that, to me, like the hard work, and then the discipline, being consistent every day for those 2 years of my high school to get to crack that exam, those are non-negotiable. And I also feel the same when company building. People think that, oh, you need to do smart work, oh, you must be super smart. I don't I think that's like a given, that's table stakes, and everyone are equally smart in some sense based on what problem you discovered, etc. But then, can you consistently show up? Can you be disciplined and be focused, and in building your company, and do it for a consistent period of time? Because company building is almost like a marathon, never a sprint.
It's not a company's not built overnight. It takes lots of
Yeah,
years,
never,
decades.
never. It's like the Chinese bamboo. For 5.5 years, or nothing happens, and then the last 6 months, suddenly, the bamboo of 10 feet kind of shoots up.
Your company Navara, can you tell me what it means?
So we fabricated that word initially. So we looked at like 80 plus names on different parameters, where we brought it down to like 8 parameters based on trademark, SEO, branding, monosyllable. How can we run a good ad on it? So we just
Mhm,
did a lot of testing, like how the Warby Parker folks did. If you know the story, the glass company, on how they came up with the name Warby Parker as a brand name. So we did some testing, and then
mhm,
finally we narrowed down to two names. One is Girard. Joe Girard is a Guinness Book of World. He has a Guinness Book of World record for the highest selling the highest number of cars in a year,
wow.
and he sold the highest, I think, around 13,000 in his lifetime. And he's a legendary salesperson over a decade. So we wanted to give almost like an ode, or it's almost like a tribute to him. Is
Mhm,
the one thing that we want to do. But then it felt like little mouthful. People were finding it hard to say it, and felt like a little bit of tongue
mhm,
twister. And they're already bunch of like a wine brand, a furniture brand, so on and so
mhm.
forth with that.
You need to
Uh,
be unique, so.
yeah, it need to be unique. So then we chose the alternate, which is Navara. And then later, when we hired one intern from Argentina, we learned that, oh, it's a word in one of the towns in Argentina where they use it to resemble snow. That's the meaning. Yeah, but otherwise it's a made up word.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Navarro's motto is closing with craft, not chaos.
Yep.
So, what's the deeper story behind that motto and why does it matter?
Great question. Back in the day when sales, like if we take a step back and look at the history of sales, most of the time it was very human to human. You go to someone's office, you go to someone's business premises, or much older days, if you go to kingdoms and you go, you're like a merchant going and trading stuff, right? Like, so you're going in person. But then what ended up happening when the PC revolution happened, people started at least thinking about, hey, how can we digitize this profession? And then what ended up happening was, there's this technology called relational databases that we had a big breakthrough, which Oracle, in fact, was a pioneer in that technology, and then they created something called a CRM, and that's when people stopped like going and maintaining a Rolodex, like a business cards book, and then like putting a pocket diary and all that,
Mhm,
and then going and meeting in person sometimes. But then they started digitizing all of their contacts and details in the CRM.
mhm,
Then Mark Benioff, another legendary entrepreneur, he came in and said, "Oh, you don't need to come to the desk, to your office desk every single time. Why don't you do it on the if we host this on the cloud, you can also access this from your home." And then he just like opened it up and gave much wider access to people. Then because of the cloud, from 2012 to 2022, there were like, before then, I would actually say that it's before 2012 and after 2012 for the sales technology and the marketing technology world in general. Before that, if you say, hey, what is a sales technology, probably people would say Oracle and Salesforce, and maybe Marketo and HubSpot in the marketing space. But then after that time, after 2012, the space exploded with so many tools. I think today there are, I don't know, maybe 2,000 tools. Like,
Oh,
everyone is
wow.
building from some corner some small AI startup around this problem, even though they don't understand this problem deeply and how complex it can get to build a solution for this problem. Now that explosion happened. Now what happens when technology explodes? It leaves a lot of data trials everywhere, right? It
Mhm,
creates a lot of chaos. It creates data being spread everywhere. Now what does it mean is it's also loss of context, because it's in different systems, in different places, in your chat application, your email, somewhere in your database, somewhere in a spreadsheet, somewhere in a Google Doc. Now how do you get all this context? So that's the chaos.
mhm.
Everyone built tools to solve for the problem in great spirit, but then we all ended up creating chaos. And it's almost like what's happening with the mobile phones. Like, we created mobile phones for being productive, being connected, but then now we're addicted to them. We
Mhm,
almost need an anti-mobile. So it's similar to
mhm.
that. Like, Navara is an anti-chaos, where we want to use AI to remove that chaos, and then like remove the overwhelmingness around the job for the reps who wants to invest their time in solving problems, in closing deals, in helping customers get value out of the product. And that's really the motto.
Yeah, like we should stop using smartphones and start using those dumb phones which have like no social medias,
Yeah.
just the basic necessities of what you need on a phone.
Yeah.
Calling, texting, maps, basically.
Yep.
Yeah. So you built Almabase to the number one alumni management software in the US. Help scale Rippling from $4 million to over $100 million. And now with Navara, you're focusing on helping individual salespeople, not their bosses. So tell me, what made you want to help people actually get their work done?
Yeah. So look, this is a pattern that I've followed in my life. Even when I came out from the physics PhD and after the business school, the problems that I saw are the problems that I felt and experienced in my life. Growing up, like I said, my parents were not educated, so there's no one to teach physics to me, or science in general. It was
Mhm.
always like self-taught or self-learned.
Yeah.
If there is school, so I said, you know what, like physics in some sense is built into the human body in an intuitive way. Let's say if I throw a ball, you know how fast to run and then catch the ball in some intuitive sense. So I was like, hey, why don't I build games to teach kids physics and math? And the two topics that I picked is kinematics, and the second topic is probability. So how can I teach kids, right? Because those are the two topics I felt they were very challenging, but they're very essential for you in your life as a life skill. So that's the pattern. Like, whatever problems that I faced, whether it's in childhood, whether it's adulthood, those are the problems that I kept chasing. So similarly, when I went to remote and also rippling in there in some of the teams where we have an early GTM, I saw that there's too many tools and the reps are buried under this chaos and tools and data. And I could almost every day see that my reps have been struggling, wasting time. I myself have been wasting time.
Hmm.
So that was the problem and the insight. And I waited in the sidelines probably for like 3 years. ChatGPT came in 2022. The moment it came out, I immediately realized that, oh man, this is going to be groundbreaking, and someone should solve this. In fact, I even built like internal tooling in those companies.
Wow.
Uh, but the thing is, no one is literally doing it. And I waited for 3 years, and I felt like, okay, chuck it. I need to go and solve this problem. I can't wait for someone else to solve this problem for
Mhm.
me. And that was really the genesis.
Thank you for that mini story. Almabase has 500 startups backed with profitability. Now, with Navara, it's a whole different game. I've read that the most successful founders mess up their second business because they just copy what worked the previous time. So tell me, what did you do differently that worked?
Yeah. Do you watch movies?
Yes.
Okay. Who's your favorite director or actor?
I would say Jason Statham.
Yeah, Jason Statham. So if Jason does the same script again, a movie after movie, would you go and watch it?
No,
No,
it would
right?
get boring.
And yeah, exactly, right? So the reason I'm comparing this, building a startup is also kind of an art, and also a lot of science. But then if you look at movies as a craft, you always need to the template that worked for this movie doesn't work for the next movie because the
Mhm.
audience wants something new, right? Like you as an audience, I as an audience, all of us want something new, and only that newness would keep. So that means every time you need to reinvent your thought process, every time you need to reinvent what you need to give to that process and what you need to give to that creation. And
Mhm.
startups are the same. There are some things definitely like the time tested principles, that you need to take on from your previous startup, like product market fit, non-negotiable, right? Like go to market. How do you find a unique angle and go to market to go penetrate into those early business deals? Non-negotiable. So some of those principles you take them, but you just need to rethink everything from
Mhm.
ground up again. It's almost like you climbed the whole Mount Everest, then someone pushed you back from there, and then you're back to zero, and now again you need to climb. Doesn't mean that because once you climb the mountain it becomes easier.
Mhm.
There could be new snow blizzards,
Obstacles.
obstacles, or
Yeah.
or, or it's still tough to climb.
Mhm. But you know how to modify your path up so you can get there faster, since you know the route.
That's the hope.
Oh, okay. So that's what you guys are really trying to do. Modify like each idea to get to or to build a company faster.
Yeah, so when we say modification here, the biggest force of nature here is AI, right? Like, so now whatever I built in 2014, 2015, all the way to 2021, and then later at Remote and Rippling, whatever building I've done, everything needs to be rethought from, hey, we have this powerful force multiplier technology called the AI. How can we do this better, faster, and efficient? That's really the thought process, right?
That's the question. Mhm.
Yeah, and which means because this technology did not exist earlier, you just need to think everything from ground up.
Yeah, you're gonna redo all your thinking.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maruthy. MIT says 95% of companies get zero ROI from AI, but you called it an opportunity, just like you just said.
Yeah.
So now that you're building an AI yourself, what mistakes are B2B companies actually making, and what's your real framework for making AI work in sales?
Right. So I think that stat, somehow that caught everyone's attention. But I went and read the whole report, and I also made bunch of notes and shared it with my team as well. The key reason for those failures, or in some senses, one, a lot of companies did not have a goal and scoped out their problem very well.
Mhm.
And two, they just thought that, oh, this is a plug and play magic.
Mhm.
and they don't need to invest anything, and the world will come to their feet and everything will magically happen. But that's not how AI works. AI is more like, you have a very powerful,
Brain.
Ferrari
Oh,
in
okay.
your
Yeah.
hand, right? Like, and then you still need to be a Lewis Hamilton to drive it, steer it across the board very well, right?
Mhm.
So it's the same thing. Like, you have this highest amount of intelligence in your hands. Now you need to give it context. You need to give it relevant information. You need to tell it where to look for the right kind of information and steer it. And every single time when it's giving you an output, you need to go and review the output and see how much of it is accurate, how much of it's not, and then you need
Mhm.
to keep giving feedback, and that feedback keeps developing a loop, and then that's how it gets improved. So there's that amount of investment you can't shortcut that. Now, does that mean that you need more people to manage it? Probably not. right? Let's say whatever software that you have today, you might have 100 people are operating it. Probably you dedicate like maybe 10 people to AI, and this whole loop that I'm saying about steering it, giving it feedback, doing good evals like QA, etc. So you could do a very good job and get the same kind of output with just 10 people,
Mm.
right? So the key takeaway is scope out the problem very well, and invest time up front in telling the AI what is good, what is bad, and steer it in a way that you can solve your problems. Yeah.
Thank you for that amazing explanation, very detailed. You
Yeah.
said that most AI tools look like they were built in a basement and shipped without taste.
Mhm.
You name dropped Apple, Nike, and Tesla, companies where design is the product. So, how's this working out at Navera?
Yeah, look, I think building anything is very tough. So there's like Google, Apple, all of them came from basement as well. So there's nothing against people shipping from basement. I think the key is how much do you care about the problem and the user? That's what really, really matters. And that's where the more you care, the more you understand the problem, the more you understand the user, the better your judgment, which is kind of your taste would be, and the better your instincts and intuition would be on what to deliver to the end user, and then how to even design a particular application, right? So that's my only point of view. Like, yeah, you can go vibe code this whole thing. Like almost all the apps that are there on the web right now can be vibe coded by some form of lovable
Hmm.
or replicate kind of tools.
Hmm.
But then how do you make it in a way that you understand the problems deeply, and you show that you care about the user, and then make the user care about using your product?
Hmm.
Because the worst thing in the world is you create everything, you copy paste someone, or you vibe code it, and no one cares about it.
Hmm. So,
either
no one
people
uses
should,
it.
yeah,
And
either
then,
people should hate your product or love your product. Even
mhm.
hate is good because you're getting a lot of feedback, you keep improving it, and you have a chance to turn the hate into love.
Mhm.
But if
You know
no one
exactly what
cares,
people hate, so you
yeah,
can change that out to make it so that people love it.
yep, absolutely.
If you could rewrite the story of AI for parents and teens, what myths would you want to shatter?
Oh man, that's a tough question because AI did not exist when I was a teen,
Mm.
and I'm not a parent of a teen,
Okay, a little bit
right?
challenging then.
Yeah,
Sorry.
very challenging, but I think look, like, with every technology, when I was growing up, MySpace and Orkut were the AI of that time, where we got hooked onto it. Right? So with every technology, there are good and bad things. The good thing uh, are this can be super powerful. Like, think about this Maruthi now sitting in India, in a tier 2, tier 3, and then Ryan sitting in Toronto. Now we both have access to the same chat GPT, which
Mhm.
means the same kind of intelligence. When was this in the evolution, or in the human history, that happened in this way? Never, right? Like, this
Mhm.
is very unique.
Yeah,
So
very recent.
yeah, so you could use that AI for your tutoring. Like, I can, like, someone in tier 3 city, or in a small rural town in India, can learn physics with AI in the language they want, in the mode that they want, whether they want videos, whether they want audio, depending on whatever their convenience is, and then whatever the way that they want to learn, they could do it, right? The other aspect is you can also use it for all forms of different things, like creating random meme videos.
Mhm.
Now, is that going to make you productive? Is that going to make you better? That's a question that
No.
people need to ask, and that's
Oh,
where
yeah.
that's where I mean, that's where I think parents can put some parental control, and that's why,
Mhm.
if you look at ChatGPT, they're also adding a lot of parental controls now. Like, they're all every one of us are being aware of what it could do, like the way it can talk you to do something which you don't want to do, but then it can just, like, encourage you to do certain things which are probably bad for you, right?
Mhm.
So they're both pros and cons, but I really see the positive thing of this, and that parents can definitely look at what are the negative things, and they can just restrict them. um,
100%.
Education is a big thing there.
As someone just starting out, I'd love to know who taught you something that you still think about today when making a big decision.
So I worked at a company once before I started my startup for a year, and my first boss, Seshadri Srinivas, now he's in Google right now as director of engineering, etc. He told me one thing that which I keep thinking is startups are really a long journey, and then the universe has infinite opportunities. So don't worry if you get hit or if you lose a deal today. Don't be dejected. Don't be worried about it. Don't crumble. Keep going one day at a time, thinking this is a long journey and enjoy that journey. The universe will present itself its infinite opportunities to you, and then you will get what you deserve. Yeah, it,
100%.
it sounded philosophical, but then it is very practical if you think about it,
Hmm.
because there's so much opportunity.
There's always tomorrow.
Yeah.
The world doesn't end today. So,
Yeah.
yeah. For young first generation founders or parents supporting them, what advice do you wish you'd received?
What advice I received? Looking at my enthusiasm, a lot of times like people asked me to tap into what I really enjoy, what feels like like not work for me, but more like play for me,
Hmm.
and then keep doing that more. And that ended up being me studying math and physics a lot.
Oh, wow.
That ended up being me playing a sport as a balance to this.
Hmm.
In fact, like playing more sport than sometimes studying math and physics, but then
Hmm.
at the right time, like giving up sport completely. I would say that give the space to the teenager or the kid, whoever that is, to lean into or to explore first of all what they could enjoy or what they would enjoy, and then lean into one of those so that they would develop a certain kind of likingness, certain kind of deep care to that craft, and they will excel in that craft.
Thank you for that advice, Maruthy. Now, if you could teach one life or career skill to every teenager, what would it be and why?
I think the one skill for every teenager is the skill to learn something new, because what we need to learn is changing very fast in this world. Like what I learned 15 years ago is not relevant anymore.
Hmm.
Forget about 15, like especially in the field of AI, what I'm learning 6 months ago is probably going irrelevant very fast. So if a teenager can master how to learn something and then apply that learning for practical use, that's it. Then they can become unstoppable.
So, your advice is learning to learn.
Yeah, learning to learn.
That's some
and,
great
and
advice.
probably, yeah, probably one other thing that I would attach it is once you learn how to learn something and then you find a practical application, go sell that application. So selling is a second thing. So one is intellectual and other is commerce, right? Like if you
Mhm.
marry both those skills as a teenager, you would be unstoppable.
You're set for life.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maruthy, for sharing your remarkable journey and your vision with us today.
Mhm.
And to everyone listening, if this conversation sparked some new ideas, inspired some of your own daring moves, or even shifted how you see technology's future, make sure to let us know down in the comments. And don't forget to share this with someone who's ready to rewrite their own story. And make sure to subscribe to the AI Parenting Institute and join us on the journey for responsible innovation. Once again, I'm Rayan, and thank you for trusting me with your time and your biggest parenting concerns. Until next time, let's keep building a future where kids don't adapt to change, they create it.